What we learned from the first debate between Kamala and Donald. In a fiery presidential debate on Tuesday, Democratic candidate Kamala Harris took center stage, challenging her Republican rival Donald Trump on several fronts. With her prosecutorial acumen, Harris, 59, launched a barrage of criticism targeting Trump's fitness for office, his stance on abortion, and his tangled legal issues. From the outset, Harris dominated the debate, provoking Trump, 78, into a series of flustered responses. Notably, she taunted Trump about his campaign rallies, claiming people often leave them early, quote, out of exhaustion and boredom. Trump retorted with exaggerated claims about the size of his rallies and veered into false accusations about immigrants eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. Harris countered this claim and provoked Trump into making other controversial statements that could become viral. As the debate unfolded, it became clear that Trump struggled to stay focused, often descending into unsubstantiated allegations about voter fraud and immigrant crime.
14 or 15 different policies, like she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this.
Despite their clash over various issues, including immigration, foreign policy, and healthcare, the debate lacked detailed policy proposals. Betting markets, however, shifted in Harris's favor as Trump's performance failed to reassure investors. If that was not enough, Trump entered the spin room post-debate, asserting it was his best performance, despite many undecided voters remaining skeptical of his candidacy. Trump's response to Harris's call for a second debate was mixed, hinting he might decline if he feels he won the first round. After the debate, pop music superstar Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala on her Instagram, including a link to register to vote and a sign-off that says, "A childless cat lady." Now, I saw viral clips of this going off before it was even over. This was one of the most entertaining debates we've seen in a while, especially compared to the last one, which is one of the most stressful ones we've seen in a while. We got Trump spiraling, basically, which I didn't think he was capable of doing. That's a lie. I didn't think he was so capable of doing with a woman present. Like, Kamala walked into the room, darted towards him, shook his hand, took up that space, walked to her podium, and knew everything she had going on. And I applaud her for that. And as the #1 Kamala Harris drag queen impersonator, I have to give kudos to her because she did a fantastic job from start to finish.
Listen, I have to support and co-sign what Bonnie said. This was one of the most entertaining evenings I have had in a long time. Like,
I was stayed up late for it.
Look at you, Cindy, right? She was breaking night there to watch the debate. I just was blown away by, Kamala used all her tools yesterday to not F a person up. You know what I mean? You could just see it in her faces, right? Because something that happens with Black and brown people is that we can't hide our distaste for you, right? When it gets to a certain point, we really can't. When we're 1 second away from getting the Vaseline and taking off our earrings, our face says it all, right?
Yeah.
And her face just said it all. But the last thing that you can be is an angry woman. Especially, you can't be an angry brown or Black woman in front of men because they automatically take that as a sign of weakness, right? So I was there like, Kamala girl, you gotta get this. You've got to do this. He's going to try to rattle you, but you've got this. And she totally brought it home for us, I thought, When she said, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I was like, mic drop. Thank you. We done. We can all go home now, when Trump started talking about the transgender surgeries on illegal immigrants, I was like, what is going on with this man?
I never heard that.
I had even posted like, hey, let's start a drinking game for people. Every time he mentions immigrants, take a picture, take a shot. People were on the floor by 20 minutes in. There was so much going on, when the reference about her being black, not being black, where he was like, oh, I read she was black, and then, she's not black. She could be whatever she wants. Wow, she is Jamaican, okay? Like, she is Jamaican Indian. She is brown, okay? That's it. There was just so many parts there. And let me not get started on the eating of the animals. My favorite part about the ass kicking that happened last night was that today the Trumpers were less on social media, if you notice. Some of them, had their little things, but they weren't usually out like on the prowl like they usually are. Like they are licking their wounds kind of deal.
They are planning a rally on the water, a boat rally in Fort Lauderdale. I think it's this weekend.
On the Titanic?
Yeah.
There's a show coming out called The Apprentice, and it's about Donald Trump and how he was trained by Roy Cohen.
Like a documentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a show. It's like a movie.
Oh, okay, like docuseries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's still him, right? It's like, it's so boring already. It's like, he's going to come out, he's going to lie, he's going to say weird things about, like, he's going to be really offensive to a whole lot of people. I don't know why he gets to do this to other people, but for some reason he gets this pass. But then when you look at The Apprentice, if you care at all to do such a thing, you'll see how he was trained there. You never admit you lost. You never admit defeat. You always say that you won. You always say that you were the best. You always said that it was the biggest. These are things that he's been trained to say from like the 80s by Roy Cohen, right? And the thing is, the worst part about that is that it's old and it's tired, and we know it's like this training thing from the 80s, but it's 2024. And all the people,
right?
And he's almost 80, and the people that fall for it,
now.
like the people that vote for him, they don't care.
They don't care.
That it's just part of his game. Like, they don't exist.
Yeah.
They're just part of his game. He's doing what he was trained to do. They don't really exist at all, and they don't care. And it's really sad at this point. It's like, you guys, I don't know, I don't even know how to talk to them. I used to think, we need to educate, we need to take time, and we need to provide facts, and then it's like,
but there's
Not everybody
like,
is educatable.
Now it's like, I don't even.
like that.
Educatable, I like that. Did you make up that word?
If you did, it's
I
a
don't know,
good one.
Professor.
I'm going to say you made it up.
I actually spoke to a person who was still voting for Trump recently, and they said they understand he's a jackass. Their words, not mine. I would use it, but their words, not mine. But they just can't see themselves voting for Kamala. And I'm like,
because she's a woman?
It has to be something like that. They didn't delve into it, but like there are people who like truly cannot stand this man, but will give him their vote because they just cannot vote for Kamala. And
but they can't give you a good reason.
They cannot.
No, but they can't give you. But I'm telling you, it's a cognitive dissonance. You can't talk to these people. You literally, and let me just say, there still is a difference between a Republican and a Trumper. Okay, I will say that, right? Because I have Republican friends that have said, look, I'm just staying home.
Look at Liz Cheney.
I'm just going to stay home. For voting day, I'm just going to stay home. But I mean, it's just crazy how people. It doesn't matter. I will tell somebody. He just said people are eating pets in Springfield. But look it up, Faye. Google it, and then you Google it, and it'll say false. It'll say false news, right? And I'll send it back to them. Oh, whatever, Faye. And that's the answer is oh, whatever, Faye.
Exactly.
And yesterday, the American people and around the world, because people around the world were watching this.
Of course they were.
At the edge of their seats
Around
to
the
see.
world. Around the world.
I mean, he invited the Taliban to Camp David, okay?
Exactly.
And he starts talking about Abdul. Who's Abdul? I was like looking myself. I was trying to do some fact checking myself. I'm like, who's Abdul? He just mentioned the name.
One of his good friends.
One of his good friends in the Taliban.
If there are Republicans involved with that camp at all, they need to send out a huge apology to the Haitian community.
Absolutely.
Because what he has been saying about Haitian immigrants is beyond disgusting.
You're right.
The fact that it's not true is like the fact that you were saying this about a
And he
whole
knows it's not
country
true.
Yeah.
full of
For God's
people,
sake.
right?
Yeah.
And his reference
Right.
was he saw it on TV.
And,
Well-
and you want to be a president? Like, you couldn't be a manager at a
At a fucking King
Yeah,
Road.
disrespecting
No.
people like that.
You
I
can't.
don't understand.
Do we like how the moderators did their job?
No.
No.
Off and on.
I like David Muir. I like him. I followed
Did
him
he
for a lot of
fact check,
years.
but not
I
that
liked
he
his
wouldn't
fact
cut him
checking,
off.
but it was very
he
difficult for
wouldn't
him to
cut him
cut
off.
him off, and that I had a little opposition with.
But he
Like,
had no
you know.
problem at all cutting off Kamala.
Okay.
And it was, they came out and made a rule. The Harris campaign said, we want the mics on. They said, no, we're going to keep the mics off when other people are talking, and we're going to cut the mic. And they stood by the rule, and then they didn't follow their own rule. And every time he would say, let's go to the next question, Trump would go, but I want to talk about this. And he'd go,
they
okay.
let him.
And he would call him president. He'd go, okay, President
Okay,
Trump.
okay.
And I kept going, wait a minute.
But
He's
understand
not
that.
president
Once
anymore.
you're a president,
Why
you're
do you
always a
keep-
president.
No,
Sorry.
no,
Yes.
you're a former president.
But you'll always be
and
called
you're an
president. It
ex-president.
sucks, but
No,
yes.
you're a former or you're a previous.
Yeah,
You're
but
an
then you
ex.
still
They'll
have
always
that
call you
title.
president. They still
They
call
do
No.
with Clinton. They call him
everybody.
President
They
Clinton.
call
They
him
don't
president.
call him ex.
Trust me, I don't want to call that man president.
Obama.
But it's just how
It just seemed like he was giving him way too much latitude.
Also, them letting him talk really gave Trump the shovel to dig his own grave.
Yeah.
When Trump starts talking, don't you get a little dumbfounded and you forget to press the
IQ
button?
points just
I just started like drooling.
Yeah.
falling out of your
Yeah.
But
Right.
that was all.
Well,
That was
yeah.
all brilliantly staged by Harris, right? Because I didn't watch it. I listened to it. So these kinds of things I prefer to hear rather than to watch because I find the visual to be distracting. But listening to it, you could hear her entire rhetorical arc, which is she came in positive, stating policy, stating things, blah, 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 and then she started to work on him. She started to work to trigger him, right? She started to use loser, and she started to use lost, and she started to say small size, and
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
small
and
and
then
fraud
just
and-
the more she pounded on that, the more triggered he got. And then she sort of, as soon as he cracked, she let up. She let him do his own funeral, and she went back to talking about, well, here's what we're going to do moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good
was
news
brilliant.
is the backer, the Koch brothers, said their money's going anywhere but with Trump.
Oh, I love that.
And his Truth Social stock dropped 16% by the end of the debate,
Ooh.
which means that his funders were like, he's not going to win the presidential election. And they're already pulling their money out and they're looking for other things to do. And that happened immediately at the end of the debate. So that's a good sign because there's still a lot of people out there, I don't understand why, going, we want to hear more from her.
Yeah.
How much more do you need to hear from her when you see everything that he says?
Yeah.
He said enough things to make
No,
you
it's
not want to
ridiculous.
represent
Again,
you.
just say you don't want to vote for a woman. Just say that's the reason. Because, I mean, come on. And then at the end of the debate and at the end of the night, Tay says, I am with the catless ladies and I am endorsing Kamala. Great timing, Tay. Great timing.
So
Because
smart.
this had to be a response to
smart.
her hugging that Brittany woman
Yeah.
at the football game who endorsed Trump or liked the post favoring him. So I think once that got released to the public, she was like, oh no, I gotta. And then she found the perfect time after the debate to be like, it is because of the debates that I have decided with long thinking and consideration that I will be endorsing Kamala Harris. Not because of a viral
couple of
hug.
times I've heard Taylor speak. She's very smart.
She is.
And I think she waited for the debate. I think she waited to find out, can Kamala do this? Can she do this? Can you imagine the pressure that was on her last night?
Of course.
Like, it was unbelievable, right? And Taylor waited, I believe. How I read it is she waited for the debate and she went, she can do this.
She can do
And guess what? Because they just had to stop one of her concerts.
Yeah.
Because of like a hate
Had
crime. Like,
threats.
yeah, like
Right.
her coming out publicly and endorsing a candidate is a huge thing for everybody that works for her and herself.
Yeah.
And she waited to the and said, it's worth it now. Like, I saw what I needed to see. I think she's too smart to
I think
play
she's
a
smart and
game.
very
I
calculated.
think
Calculated.
she knew what she was doing with.
Yeah, I think it was like a big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably has more money than Trump now, too, actually.
Oh, big
Oh, for
girl.
sure.
She-
For
She has
sure.
real money. He
For
has.
sure.
She could
He
buy
has that
several
money. He has
today.
bank's money. She has cash.
Seriously. So folks, if you didn't see the debate, go watch it on YouTube and just enjoy all the memes because the memes, they just write themselves. The material just wrote themselves. That's the only thing about Trump. And I'll say one good thing about Trump, his hair looked good yesterday. I don't know what. I don't know who poofed it out. I don't know if you got a new toupee, but the colors were working and everything.
You know what also looked good? that gunshot ear of his. That looked really
Yeah.
good on
Woo,
camera.
wow, like, wow, it looks so perfect. Oh my
Is it a
God.
prosthetic or
Like
what? They
nothing
did
ever
really good
happened.
work.
Like nothing ever happened because nothing did.